being
Yeah.
behind the curtain. It's really exciting, and I do miss it. Yet that doesn't stop me from being here at 2:30 every Friday to make sure that our listeners are well informed. And here I am.
All right. So 2:31. Let's go.
So, Joyce, so everybody listening to me right now, good afternoon, and tell me how you slept since we last spoke of insomnia. Joyce, what about you?
You're not going to start with me. Wait. How did I sleep? Very good. Very
I
good,
always
actually.
start with you, Joyce. You're my guinea pig, my reference, my control trial group, whatever
Okay.
it is you want to call it.
Okay. So let me explain. I noticed that last night I slept about past 12 or 1 o'clock, and I woke up at 3:30, and I dozed off again about 5:30. What's that? How good is that? How bad is it? And I woke up like, say, 8:30.
Well, you remember we were talking about, I guess you know why I'm opening this subject up. And for whoever
Yeah.
was with us last week, we're actually continuing on last week's show. Last week, we spoke about insomnia. We spoke about not being able to fall asleep all night is what people think insomnia is only, but it also can be marked by waking up frequently during the night. And of course, having difficulty falling back to sleep, or by waking up too early in the morning, Joyce, and by feeling unrefreshed following day.
Carla, I want to ask you something. Can I ask you? I feel some
Yes, go ahead.
foods help you sleep better and others not as much. I think so. I've noticed that.
Yeah, usually what is advised is to basically have a very light meal to start with. The further away from your sleep, the less lighter your meal can be. So basically, if you want to eat 30 minutes before going to bed, make sure it's a light meal. Make sure it's something that contains carbs, such as a snack like a fruit salad or some rice and let's say vegetable stew, but preferably not proteins and too much fat, because that's quite heavy. So yes, the food you take in does have a big effect, and that's what we're going to talk about later in the show, on some things you maybe should be avoiding to make sure you get better sleep. So that's what the show is about, Joyce. And I'm sure you're going to find a lot of things that can help you out and maybe make you sleep better on a longer run.
All right.
And remember, as I said last week, insomnia affects about 1/3 of the adult population worldwide. So that's a big number. And we also mentioned, and I'm going quickly through this because I don't want to stay too much on this, on what we spoke of already on the show. We also mentioned that there are 3 different types of insomnia. So for those of you who missed the show last week, just remember you've got a transient or short-term insomnia, and it's actually when your insomnia occurs infrequently, so that's really usually less than once a week, sorry. And you've got intermittent insomnia, so that's when it comes and goes, and usually without really a pattern. You don't see a pattern there, but it comes and goes. And you've got chronic insomnia, which is an ongoing problem that occurs most nights, and it can last for at least a month. So I don't know where you place yourself, Joyce, in that category, but if your sleep pattern was disrupted a bit for some time and then it just went away, then it was something that was just temporary and maybe due to
that's what it is. Yeah.
Factor. And we did talk about factors that can contribute to insomnia, such as stress, which is one of the big ones that we underestimate and undermine. And we spoke of many other reasons why, but I won't go through the long list because we don't have much time. I really want us to focus on the recommended lifestyle changes I promised you I will share with you for insomnia treatment. Now, I will be leaving the lines open to listen more about your, whoever is listening right now, to listen more about your experiences with insomnia, because there's always a lot to share, always a lot to comment about. 070-993-993-993. Please do share your comments, do share your questions. I'm here to answer them. Anything to do with insomnia. And remember, we're not prescribing anything here. We're really advising you and giving tips that you can really follow thoroughly if possible. And these lifestyle changes can actually help deal with insomnia. So I'm going to first start with the first one, which is very logic, and which is establishing a consistent bedtime routine. So making sure that your bedtime routine is consistent And this is one of the most important factors in insomnia treatment and maintaining good sleeping habits, because many people don't follow a routine. And routines may include maybe taking a warm bath or a relaxing walk just before going to bed in the evening, or maybe practicing meditation, relaxation, what else? Praying, reading a book, knowing that you have that routine and that gradually takes you into your sleep. Just like they do with babies, actually. With babies, they give them usually, I mean, I used to do that. I used to give them that warm shower, the warm bath. And after that, they had their milk. And after that, I'd make them listen to some music, some peaceful music, something relaxing. I would dim the light. So there was always a routine. And those cues would signal the brain, okay, sleepy time is soon. And it's the same thing with us. We have to actually train ourselves to have that consistent bedtime routine. Now, I am going to be telling them all out loud, but you can always go back and look into them on the Instagram page with Balance with Carla, and everything is written there. So the next thing you should do is actually, if possible, whenever possible, go to bed at the same time every night. And specifically also weekends. Now, I know this might be unrealistic for many of you who want to go out, party all night, spend their time with their friends, and I get it. But at least try and do this 5 times a week, from Monday to Friday at least. That would be ideal. Or maybe Sunday to Thursday, knowing that, on Monday you have work or you have other obligations to attend. So making sure you go at the same time every night, that really is great in resetting the sleep cycle and your sleep clock, because you have an internal clock that actually makes you wake up and makes you fall asleep. So that's really important. Number 3, and this is something I can witness from many clients of mine, getting plenty of exercise during the day. So making sure you move as much as you can. Studies have shown that people who are physically active sleep better than those who actually aren't, than those who have a sedentary lifestyle, and than those who just sit there at the office or wherever it is, just sitting most of the day. The more energy you expend during the day, the sleepier you will feel at bedtime. So the easier it will be for you to fall asleep. But just be sure that if you are exercising, do not engage in any vigorous kind of exercise that are too close in timing to bedtime. So not an hour or 2 hours before, the earlier the better, because that can make it more difficult to fall asleep. So the timing, is also as important. Once again, the lines are open, Joyce. Just let me know whenever we do receive any callers. Next we have, and as you were saying, what you eat does affect, or even what you drink, caffeine. So be it black tea, black coffee, green tea.
Can we go to the telephone lines now? Are you ready for that?
Yeah, let me just finish what I was saying about caffeine, Joyce. Be it green tea, black tea, coffee, anything that contains caffeine is preferably best avoided, specifically at night. I know we live in a culture here that drinks a lot of black tea because it's part of the breakfast of many Nigerians, or even, the snack, tea time. Avoiding black tea would be best. Try and aim for herbal teas like chamomile tea, fennel tea. There are so many infusions out there that are caffeine free. That would be best. Let's take some callers now, and I'll move on to the list. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes.
Hello?
She can hear you. Go ahead. She's speaking with you. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
My name is Margaret. My question is, I want to know if sleeping much for a child, if it's normal. My son is about 12. He can sleep all day, as in if he has the chance to. Let's say he's going to school. From his bus stop to the next bus stop, he will sleep off. As in, I want to know if it's normal, if there's something wrong with that.
Okay, first of all, if I got it right, she's because it wasn't very clear. She's worried if her son is sleeping too much in the bus and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, To start, school-age children should at least have 11 hours of sleep. If your son is not sleeping for those 11 hours, it's very possible he's going to be asleep throughout the day. At their age, sleeping is very important. If they're not getting enough hours of sleep, they should, because while they sleep, they're also producing growth hormones, which are very important for their growth. So there's nothing wrong with that. I remember my brother, for instance, used to love to sleep, literally. He would sleep maybe at 3 p.m. and wake up the second day in the morning. He would sleep. And he was active when he wasn't asleep, so it's not like there was something wrong with him. And my aunts would always tell my mom, what's wrong with your kid? He's always sleeping. And despite him always sleeping, whenever he was awake, he was very active. It didn't seem like there was anything wrong. And he wouldn't eat much because he would skip his meals. But so she got very worried. And when she went to the pediatrician, he said, look, your son is growing. He's actually taller than many of the kids. He's producing growth hormones as he's asleep. It's just like eating. This is why sleeping is as important as eating, if not more at this stage when they're kids. So do not worry if your son is sleeping in the bus. He might not be getting his 11 hours. Another thing, kids sometimes tend to fall asleep when they hear an engine running, whether it's a plane, a bus, a car. I know that from my kids, wherever we went, whenever it was a trip that was more than 20 minutes long or 15 minutes long, and there was a background sound, they would just fall asleep. So that's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. I hope that answers your question. I'll move on to the next points, Joyce, so I can catch up. So we spoke about caffeine. We spoke about making sure that you have exercise during the day. You exercise regularly or just move, whatever it is that makes you move. Reduce your intake of caffeine, as I said. Establish a consistent bedtime routine. Try to go to bed at the same time every day if possible. And next, I wanted to talk about alcohol as well. Alcohol, many people might say, just drink some alcohol at night, you'll fall asleep. That's not really a good solution, because on the long term, you're destroying your liver. Your liver is supposed to be detoxifying all the toxins in your body at night, and while you're giving it alcohol, it can't do its job properly. So alcohol is better off avoided if you really have issues with sleeping, or limit it as much as you can, because it does inhibit insomnia treatment. You also have the bed. Use your bed not to watch TV, not to work, not to study. Use it to sleep and for sex. That's it. Not more than that. Limit your bed as the area for sleep, not for anything else. Don't use it to work. Don't use it to watch TV. Try and make sure you differentiate, that your brain knows when it's bed, it's sleep. Trust me, with time, and if you're consistent, it does make a difference. Do we have any more callers? All right. Okay, sorry about that. Try calling again. Please stop, reduce the volume whenever you're calling so I can hear you clearly, because remember, I am not in the studio as we speak. Another thing, you were talking about food. As I said, avoiding large meals late at night is very important. Let me take the next call. Hello.
Uh-oh. Hello, can you hear us? Hello, good afternoon. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Do you have a question?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
That when I was not sleeping on time, I drink a lot of akamu. That is pipe made from corn. And immediately I finished drinking it. Yeah, pipe. And then I sleep just take over. Although I do add Bonvita and enough milk. So it helped me to sleep well. Does that contribute to carbohydrate, because I'm an elderly person?
Yeah, you actually got it right, because pap is made from corn. Corn is a quick, fastly releasing carb. So basically what happens, because you had that, your blood sugar is actually going a bit lower than usual after having a spike. So once you take the carbs in, your body's pumping insulin to take the glucose from your blood and pack it into your cells, because there's a certain amount of glucose that stays in your blood. And if you take too much carbs, it's normal that not too much, but if you have a meal heavy with carbs, which is the case of pulp, your body is actually pumping so much insulin to take that glucose off your bloodstream. And just after that, once that glucose has gone off your bloodstream, you will feel sleepy and drowsy, and that's what happens in many people after heavy meals. So yes, do have that. As long as you're not overeating that, have it. If it helps you go to bed, do have it. If it doesn't cause any discomfort at night when you're sleeping, do have it. And as I said, avoid large meals late in the night. That's a big no-no. Your body is supposed to cleanse itself at night. So in my case, I'm telling you, my latest meal is around 7, and my latest meal. And when I go to bed, I try and go to bed between 9:30 and 10. Now I'm smiling because some of my friends listening are gonna go, yeah, you're in bed at 8:30 sometimes, but it's true. I try and push it till 9:30 just to make sure that I'm done with my digestion. So whoever's listening right now, you caught me red-handed. Yes, I do go to bed at 8:30 sometimes, but I push it till 9:30, 10.
Wow.
Yeah, but I wake up very early, Joyce. I wake up at 5:30. I start my routine, my workouts, work with the kids. It's like I'm on the clock all week long. And whenever I don't sleep enough, it does affect me. Anyway, back to insomnia. Another thing, if you can't fall asleep within half an hour of going to bed, do not pick your phone or any screen. Get up, sit up, read, or do something calming, like listening to those calming apps until you fall asleep. But please do not take that phone and start looking into your screen and passively browsing. Please, please, please. That's a big trap, I promise you. The reason behind that is the device screens, they produce blue light. And I think I said that last time. And this blue light is the part of the light spectrum that really activates in our sleep cycle. So that blue light will actually affect the brain by suppressing the production of a sleep hormone called melatonin. So your body will reduce the amount of melatonin it produces, and you won't be able to fall asleep that easily. That's how important it is. So please, please do not pick up that phone. Just keep it as far away as possible. I keep mine on sleep mode, and I just put it away, and I use an old-fashioned clock to check the time. Because most of you might say, yeah, but how do I know what time it is? Well, let's go old-fashioned. Let's use a clock or whatever those buzzers are. Okay, call, or shall I go for the next on the list, Joyce?
Your call. What do you want? You want to go for the next on the list or go for the telephone? Telephone?
Okay.
Telephone?
Yeah, telephone. Let's make it telephone.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Turn off
Good
your radio.
afternoon.
Tell us your name and go ahead with your question or comment.
Yeah, my name is Jola. I'm calling from Kurudi.
Hi. Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to ask, a glaucoma patient, what is the likely food that is good to put down the pressure of the eye?
Oh, but she's not speaking about an eye issue.
Yes, I'm talking about food.
Food to help the pressure of the eyes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for
Hello?
sharing that. Unfortunately, I won't be able to commit into answering this question. I might actually post an answer on Instagram. I usually do that for some callers who didn't have the chance to share their questions. So I usually post the answers on Instagram. So do check out the Instagram page throughout this week. You will see the answer there on at Balance with Carla. So I'll move on, Joyce.
Okay.
After that, I want to talk about, and it might sound too discreet too abstract, for many people. I want to talk about learning and using relaxation techniques. So when I first heard about relaxation technique, the first reaction for me was, okay, I should just close my eyes and go, like you see in movies or whatever. That's not necessarily it. Relaxation could be conscious breathing exercise. So basically how you do that, and that helps a lot. When my daughter has slight anxieties because of exams coming for school, I just make her do some conscious breathing. And I'm going to take you through it very quickly, just so you can have an idea. So basically, you should be either sitting on a very comfortable position, or preferably, in my case, lying down, relaxed completely, letting your body sink into the bed or the ground, wherever it is you want to put yourself. And you have to make sure that you're breathing from your stomach, not from your diaphragm. So when you're breathing in, Your belly is getting as bloated as possible, and when you're breathing out, you're exhaling all that air out, and your belly is getting stuck to your back because you're emptying it all out. That's how deep the breathing is. And it's so you have different types. What I start with is 4 count breathing in, then 4 counts holding breath, then 4 counts breathing out. Breathing in, 4 counts breathing from your mouth. Then people do 4 counts. So it's how much you're able to take in, but that's how you start. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. In with your mouth, in with your nose, out with your mouth. And if you do that, closing your eyes, relaxing 3, 4, 5 times, that already, I promise you, if you do this consistently every day, I do it before getting up in the morning and just before going to bed, it really, really helps. It might sound like something too simple, like, what is she saying? We're all breathing every day, 24 hours a day. How is that any different? It is very different because you are breathing consciously and you are not using your your chest, you're using your stomach. It makes a big difference. It helps appease your parasympathetic nervous system, which is in charge of calming you down. And it helps calm down also your sympathetic nervous system, which is what makes you all hyper all day and all active. I won't go much into that, but that's one example of relaxation and meditation. Also praying, yes, I know from my mother, when she prays, she's like in the zone. Pray, you want to pray, do pray. If that puts you in the zone, do pray. Yoga, a lot of yoga, in that case, yin yoga, if you're curious to know, Google that, look into it. These are all perfect ways to not necessarily cure. I'm not saying we're going to cure, but those lead to a state of to a state that is conducive to sleep. So that's really important. Shall I take a call now before we move on?
Hello.
Yes. No.
Hello.
Hi, Michael here. I'm calling from Victoria
Hi, Michael.
Island.
You are
Real
sounding
Thank you
loud
so
and
much
clear,
for
thank
the
God.
insightful tips. Just want to ask, what other exercise can I do during the day that will spark me out and throw me to sleep?
All right.
What exercise are you already doing, Michael?
Hello. Can you hear us? I think we've lost him.
Okay. So, Michael, if you're still listening, thank you. When I'm saying exercise, it could be high intensity interval training, HIIT, which is very common. It could be I can give you an example. If you really want to go into it, there's a guy I follow on YouTube called Bully Juice. Bully Juice, and this guy does exercise that you can do inside your room. You don't need the gym. And it could be from 20 to 30 to 40 minutes. And he really makes you jump and do everything you need to do. That's if you're really active there and you really want to do something and pump it up. I'm not telling you to spend 5 hours in the gym. No, I never do that and I'm against that. If you want to be active, it doesn't have to be in the gym. Now, even if you're from a higher point of when it comes to age, when you're for the elderly, you can always find exercise that goes with your physical level of activity. There's so many resources there on YouTube. I'm just spitting one example out, which is Bully Juice. Check him out. That's a guy I think makes a lot of sense. And you also end up really feeling that you've worked your muscles.
All right.
I'll move to the next one, Joyce, which is using white noise devices.
So apparently, Carla, if you don't mind me suggesting this
Yes.
topic, I mean, the phone lines are ringing, so evidently people
Yeah.
have questions for you.
And I'm only halfway through.
Good. So how about you bring it back to next week,
I am.
Carla?
I am going to bring it back. So let's
Yeah.
take some more calls and then I will give you more pointers. But if you want to know more about that beforehand and get more prepared to ask questions, please go on the Instagram page at Balance with Carla. You have more information on that. I will give you more details on them next week. But the main points are there on the Instagram page. Let's go for some calls, Joyce.
Okay, but the time, Carla, you didn't
Oh my
realize
God,
it.
already. No. When you're having fun. And
When
you
you're
enjoy-
having fun,
having
yeah, the
fun.
time's up, Carla.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I'll
It
move
was
to
so
the next story.
informative. I think you should bring this
Okay.
back again next
I
week.
promise you, next week we'll follow up, but you can always catch up on some information on the Instagram page. Meanwhile, thanks for having me.
Thank
Welcome
you.
once again to the Health Station. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Carla. Wow, look at the phone lines. Look, Carla's going to be back again next Friday with the same with a continuation of this topic. I think it's very informative and insightful. For nothing, by the way, check her out on Instagram, Balance with Carla, at Balance with Carla. Off on a break, we'll be right back, giving you a chance to win some money on Nigeria Info. Bye-bye.
the sunny side with Joyce.
Are you in need of funds for your child's school fees? Is your car or equipment old and needs a replacement? Do you need a loan for personal or business use? Whatever your business or personal need, CreditVille has got you covered. Simply dial 0805.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.